Okay.
Well, let's start at the outdoor classroom.
All right. Yeah, I love this. I love the idea of this. We never did anything like this, of course, when I was a kid, but to sit out here and have those conversations
It's a really
science
wonderful
and
reason.
nature.
Any class.
So we're
teachers-
assuming you work here.
I actually don't. I'm a volunteer.
Oh, okay.
I have children in the Belchertown school system. So I have 4 kids. Two in high school and 2 in CHCS right now.
Oh, okay. And your official name is?
And I am Holly Field, and the kids call me Dr. Field. And I make it clear I'm not a doctor that will fix your boo-boos. I'm a scientist. So my interest in the garden came from science. Right? I'm a scientist by training. I'm a biologist. I love nature. I love all the living things in the world. And there were teachers in SRE, who put in a great deal of effort to make this outdoor space available to other teachers, to students.
To the school population.
Exactly.
Yes,
To come out, learn about agriculture, get outside, be in the fresh air, get their hands dirty.
Grow something.
Grow something.
See how you feel when it works.
Exactly. And to learn when it doesn't work. Because not everything you plant is going to flourish, and that's okay.
It's really beautiful, Holly. It seems to get bigger every year.
We did rearrange it a little bit because we're working with the DPW. They do a wonderful job. They keep it mowed for us.
Mowing.
They're so good. For a while, we had beds on both sides of the outdoor classroom.
Right.
And they were too close together, and it was really hard to maintain. So we reorganized it recently.
Terrific.
So let me sort of orient you as to what we have here.
Okay.
So here's our outdoor classroom. This is a space. There are benches. They turn into desks, so teachers can bring their classes out here for any kind of lesson, and they can sit here, and it's lovely. Dream future, we'd love to have some sort of shade over this.
Or
I don't
something
know I don't know what yet. We don't have any specific plans, but it does get very sunny.
I'm sure.
And very hot.
Yeah.
So, and our other dream is to have an extension of the walkway to the outdoor classroom, and then to the gardens to make it more accessible for our students in wheelchairs or who have other mobility concerns.
Okay.
So that's all in the works at some point in the future. But for now, this is our outdoor classroom. And then beyond the outdoor classroom in this direction is the pollinator garden. Right. And that is a beautiful space. That is organized and maintained by Deb LaPointe. And she's the contact person for that garden. She welcomes volunteers in the summer to come help and weed. Weeding is a big job in this garden. But if we want to take a walk through the pollinator garden, I'd love to show you that.
Yes. And what is this little fenced-in area?
This little fenced-in area is something new we did this year. In the early spring, it's bulbs. So we get daffodils and we get tulips. And the children planted those, I think 2 years ago is when the children planted those. And they come up and they're beautiful. And then, as bulbs do, they're gone for the rest of the summer. So this year we had the kids sprinkle wildflowers. And we're just letting that plot go wild for the pollinators. I mean, there's a big pollinator garden there, but
it doesn't matter. You can't have too many pollinators.
Well, and they were so excited because we just got the flowers coming up. The kids were out yesterday and they were so excited. They said, I remember standing here casting the seeds.
So, I see one California poppy from
there's
here.
poppies.
So
there's all kinds. It was
like
just
beach pea and a few other things. It's lovely. Good idea.
So that's the pollinator. That's the little wildflower garden, I guess I should say.
Okay, you have a tree here, ribbons in the tree. Any information on that?
This is a new thing that the Outdoor Learners program started up this year. They do a program through the rec department where people can sign up and their kids can be involved in the program, and they do some gardening in some of the beds. And this year they've been putting some ribbons into our little free library, which I'll also show you in a moment.
Yes, oh gosh, nice.
And inviting people to tie a ribbon on the tree and make a wishing tree. So that was a fun project that they're doing.
That is lovely.
And then beyond the tree is where our vegetable gardens are. And those we plant with the students during the school year. And then Normally we rely only on volunteers during the summertime, but this year we're having some classes also.
Oh, that's
in the
wonderful. I was
works.
just going to say, what a shame to have them come out and do the work and plant, and then they're not back in school until it's past time for these things, a lot of these things to be
A
harvested.
lot
not
of them,
everything.
not everything. We try
But
to
some.
make it so that they can harvest a few things before they leave.
Right.
Like kale, usually peas, but things were a little late this year.
Yeah, peas aren't succeeding
Yeah,
very
they're
well.
not doing real
Too
well.
much water, not enough sun.
But they harvested kale and turnips. Radishes weren't quite ready either. Almost, but
Well,
so
they've
hopefully
got to
before the end of the
harvest
school
something,
year.
because that's the whole closing
Exactly.
the circle, and it is what they get the joy from. I think.
Exactly. They see the whole picture.
All right.
And then new this year, we have a weaver's garden, which I'm pretty excited about because I'm a hand weaver.
Are you growing flax or something?
We are growing flax and nettle for the fibers.
Okay.
And we're growing a number of different plants that are used to dye
for
fiber.
dye. Oh.
So hopefully in the fall when the kids come back, we'll do a little project with them. We'll do some sun dyeing with some of the flowers we're
Oh,
growing.
I hope so much you'll keep us informed.
Oh,
about
I will
these
let you
things.
know. I will let
Because
you know.
these things are beautiful, and everybody should get to see them if they
Well,
can't. Have fun. Can we walk and
Yes,
see
let's
that?
walk, sure.
Let's go look at some of this. So you've got some strawberries.
So this
here.
is our asparagus and strawberry bed, and we had a wonderful community member donate a blueberry bush this year,
very nice.
which we were really happy about. So that won't give fruit this year.
No,
but
it takes a few
It takes a
years
few
for
years,
blueberries,
but now we also have blueberry in the garden, which that variety of blueberry gives fruit in September.
Oh, it's a late
So it's a
producing.
late
And
producing.
is that a low bush? I mean, it's little now, but will it get taller, or is that a low bush?
It will get into a full size.
It's more of a high bush.
bush.
Okay.
I believe it's an Elliott blueberry.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So that'll be a lot of fun. In that
Endless
garden.
supply of hope in the garden. I see rhubarb.
We have rhubarb, and this was from transplanted from one of the original creators of the garden.
I see.
His grandmother had this rhubarb. So everything in the garden seems to have a little
A
bit
little
of
history
to
a
it.
story.
Yes.
Madder, is this a dye plant?
Madder is a dye plant. Madder takes 3 years before you can harvest it, but you harvest the roots to get a red dye.
Very nice.
From madder.
So you don't have to use the little beetles.
So we don't have to use the beetles.
Good.
We actually have another red plant, which I love the history of this plant.
Really?
So safflower, and you may have heard of safflower for oil.
Safflower oil for sure.
So you can get the oil from the seeds. The flowers produce 2 dyes. They produce a yellow dye and a red dye.
Really?
And if have you ever heard the term, cut the red tape when they're talking
Yeah,
about government
sure,
or
yeah.
legal? So throughout history, people have used red cotton ribbon, they called it tape,
Right.
to tie up legal documents and tie up government documents
Sure,
before
you can
staplers
get a
and-
mind picture of that. I know I've seen that.
Yes. And safflower was the plant that was used to create the red dye for those red ribbons.
This is so exciting. But are the flowers bicolored, or is it part is stamen and part is petal? How do you get yellow dye from one part and red from another?
It's actually, so my understanding is, and I haven't tried safflower myself yet, but I've read about it.
But we're going to,
We're
right?
going to. The petals are sort of an orange color.
Okay.
And so first you soak the petals to extract the yellow dye.
Mm-hmm.
And then you change the pH of the solution to extract the red dye.
Oh, you're going to have so much fun with
It's a
this
lot.
one.
It's chemistry. It's being outside. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this one. And I'm hopefully I'll get some cotton, just plain white cotton tape ribbons
Yes,
that they
yeah.
can dye
Right,
and
as-
take home a
and-
little piece of
You can hang them in the
red
tree
tape.
to dry.
Or we can hang them in the tree.
And then everybody can see. Okay, I see an onion of some kind. or-
Red onion skins can be used to dye.
Oh, I'd forgotten that. Yes.
And we have only one germinated this year, and I think
It's a little squash or
it's a
something.
little. Actually, it's a hollyhock.
Oh, how nice.
Black hollyhocks can be used. They give a sort of teal blue color. So, and I'm not sure we'll get flowers this first year on the
Well,
hollyhock,
maybe not.
but
Maybe
but
not.
that's okay.
It's hollyhock. It's biennial. Isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't get them this year, it'll be year
It'll
after
be
next.
next year.
Maybe
Oh.
next year if it doesn't bloom this
right, if
year.
it doesn't bloom this year, it will be next
So
year.
it's not because it's new. It's just because it's biennial.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we have
Dyer's
chamomile.
which is yellow. Flowers produce yellow, gold, and tan dye for
Yes.
wool.
And a lot of that depends, in my experience, on the type of wool you're using. Takes up the dye differently. What else is in the water?
That's true.
If you're using hard water, you may have a little more iron that may affect the color of the dye that comes out. So it's a little bit of a experiment as you go to see what you get.
Is the rest of this weed?
Yes, these are weeds.
Okay.
Again,
So
weeding
let's
is our
talk
big
about
challenge.
volunteers for the
Yes.
garden. What do they do? How do they
So
get in touch? Or if they, you can't just have anyone come up with weed, because if they don't know what's a weed and what's a plant, you're going to have trouble.
Correct.
You need guidance as a
Correct.
volunteer to weed, I think.
yes, we actually we welcome anyone who wants to be involved in the garden. Is absolutely welcome. So no restrictions. And if people who can't get into the garden still want to volunteer,
Participate
want to
somehow.
participate, we have other opportunities. We are desperate for someone who's good at social media, maybe someone who could make us a website, disseminate information that way, and that would be a real help for the garden as well. If people want to come to the garden to help out, they can send an email to btowngarden@gmail.com.
I see.
And we have some information on the common weeds you'll find in our garden. So, if it looks like one of these, you can probably pull it out safely.
Okay. Well, that's a great idea.
And-
show them. And well, the amaranth is always a problem, and so you just show them a picture of what to pull out, and that's terrific.
Right. And
I
even
love
if
that.
someone goes through and just takes all the grass out, that's
If
a
you don't
big
do anything
help.
else,
If
yes.
that's what you know is a weed, you can definitely identify that. That's a big help. So lots of different ways to help. And it doesn't have to be one person showing up and weeding the whole garden in a weekend, Make a walk. So the DPW does mow the path,
Oh, okay.
and there's peaches and grapes and apples and
And
pears.
raspberries. It looks
And there's raspberries down there. So there's still things growing, and there's still things that are being maintained. Around the path, well, around the path is just wild.
Well, I see bed straw, and I see a bunch of other things that I know. We think of them as weeds, but as long as they're not hurting any of your plants that you're growing, I don't see a
Precisely.
reason not to leave them.
A weed is just a plant in the wrong place.
That's exactly what I say to the children. That's exactly what I tell them. And in my mind, it actually provides an environment for insects, wildlife. Sometimes we have rabbits down here, which can eat our garden.
Yes,
But we also have hawks, and so it's an ecosystem.
So it works. Yeah.
And
it's
so
a whole-
it doesn't bother me to have this sort of
I kind of like
untended
it. It
area.
looks lush and welcoming and beautiful.
Okay.
All right, so now we're at woad, which I know makes a blue dye.
Yes.
Is it the root?
It's the leaves, actually.
It's the leaves.
It's the
okay.
same chemical that's in an indigo plant is in the
Interesting.
woad leaves.
Mhm.
It's also a biannual. So
I see.
this is they're just flowering, finishing flower. These are the seeds. So these plants, the leaves won't.
Look at that.
Yeah, they're almost like a maple leaf.
Like a whirligig.
Like a whirligig, sort of.
yes,
They're
yeah.
flat
A
like
little
that,
bit,
and they'll
yeah.
dry and they'll fall off and it'll
Fringy looking.
self-seed.
Oh, that's good, because if it's a biennial, then you will have plant every
Exactly.
year, different ones
Different
growing at
stages,
different rates.
precisely.
Yes.
That's what we're hoping.
That's wonderful. And it's the leaves. Is there the flowers have any use? Are they a dye plant? or-
Not that I know
just
of.
the leaves.
It's just the leaves. Yeah.
Can you tell us real quick how you extract the color from these leaves?
So this is tricky. You can do it a couple ways. With indigo, you actually can make a fermented vat.
Holy
So you
moly.
take the leaves and you have to, process them, grind them up, and then you have to oxidize them, and then, there's a big process.
Okay.
Which you can do with these as well. That's
Or-
probably not what we're going to be doing. You can also
To the
use
other side, or
fresh leaves, and if you take the fresh leaves in an ice bath and salt, and you can get it's more of a robin's egg blue. It's a pale blue, almost like the
How
shirt you're wearing.
nice. Oh, how
But it
nice.
doesn't involve all the chemical processes.
Yeah, too much. Too complicated. Too time consuming.
It's very
it sounds
time
like,
consuming,
yes.
and I think it would be a little complicated for natural dyeing, especially with the children.
Yes.
So-
Natural dyeing. You could always take some home, Holly, and figure it out on your own. But
Oh,
I
yes,
like
I plan
like
to.
the easier way. The ice and salt. It's like making ice cream, only it results in
And then you
blue
put
dye.
your fabric in it. So.
Okay. I love that. All right, that's what else we
So
have.
this was our weaver's garden, and that this right here was a space in between that we decided to experiment this year. So everything in the garden is volunteer,
Okay.
including purchasing the starts, the seeds, and we do get some seeds from, but in general, it's the volunteers who are bringing things
seeds
in.
and or plants.
Correct. So we thought perhaps we could make a little bit of money to help pay for those things by selling flowers at the farmer's market this summer.
Oh,
so this is
okay.
our experiment. We're growing gladiolas.
I
and
see. It
Hopefully,
looks like you have a milkweed. Might be a volunteer, but you've got a milkweed down there.
well, this side is actually popcorn. The rows going in this direction are popcorn with red clover in between
Nice.
to help with nitrogen fixation
Okay.
and for erosion.
Okay.
And then the rows running north and south are the gladiolas. And if they look good, we may bring a few to the farmer's market.
Also, maybe with some red clover in
Yes,
between?
correct.
I
Yep, with the
see.
red clover in between.
And will that be tilled in the fall for nitrogen for the soil?
Yes.
Or- Okay.
Yep. And we'll probably cut it before the flowers go to seed.
Okay.
So it just keeps it contained.
Are the gladiolas perennial? Will they come
The
up every year?
gladiolas,
It's a corm, right?
it needs to be dug up in the fall.
Oh, like a dahlia.
Yes.
Okay.
So after they've bloomed and in the fall, I think late in the fall, you dig them up and you put them in your garage in a safe place.
Right,
And
and
then
wait, the leaves feed the bulb or the corm, right?
That's
so
my
you have to
understanding.
wait.
Yes.
So you can't just take them when they're done flowering.
Correct.
Or
Correct.
or they won't come back.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Gladiolas, red
Yes.
clover, popcorn. I love
So much in the garden. Here's our flax and our nettle. We actually just had a patch of nettle in this area, and it's stinging nettle. So we didn't want the children to get into it. But
Right.
where nettle is a natural fiber plant, I thought, what a great opportunity. We'll put a fence around it so no
Right.
one accidentally runs in it. And we planted flax in the front. And I've never planted flax before, but if you touch it, it is the softest.
Well,
plant.
flax is what produces linen, right?
Correct.
When you weave flax, the outcome is linen.
The outcome is linen.
And this is the stinging
This is the
nettle?
stinging nettle in the back here.
Interesting. It doesn't look thorny or anything.
If you
You've got
look
something
really carefully, there are these
tiny, that, which is why it stings. They
And
probably stick in your skin.
What's interesting is they're almost like little glass syringes. They're hollow,
Ooh.
and they have a solution inside, which I believe is acidic. So it's like getting lemon juice in a cut.
Right.
It's
That's why it stings.
pierces
as
your
much as it
skin, and
does.
you get a little bit of a sting.
This is I have never seen stinging nettle, so I'm happy to have a look at it.
The idea that we're trying to promote for the children is that you're not growing this garden, this was my pea
Right,
plant.
yeah.
I grew this one and these peas are mine. Everyone's contributing, and then everyone can benefit. So there are some classes that have come up and planted a bed
Yeah, just for the project.
for the project,
Right.
for the experience of it. But that is not their sole responsibility to tend and harvest that
see,
bed.
I
It's
see.
shared amongst everyone who
Well,
works
that's
in the
why you
garden.
need volunteers. To
And
come
that's why
and
we
weed.
need volunteers to come and help.
All
So
right,
we
I
have
see lettuces.
we have lettuces. Those were planted by the outdoor learners that I had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Under this, we have some beautiful kale we just harvested yesterday
Oops.
and delivered to the.
I see.
Oh, wow.
And you will also see in all the beds, you will see milkweed.
I do, yes,
we
and because the
leave
pollinators
milkweed.
love that.
Right. We leave it because there was a lot of milkweed in the garden, and we get monarch butterflies every year coming back.
Yeah.
And so we really want to leave it. It's not where it should be, but we want as much milkweed as we
Yeah,
can
but
have.
you don't want to
So-
discuss. I think
Oh, we want to put it back on?
Well, if you're done, then I
Yep.
want to recover it. I
We
don't
just
want to
wanna
walk away from it.
lift
So this
the-
is- Oh, I see.
It's on a frame, and it just kind
Does
of
it come all the way over?
Yeah, it's on a hinge.
I don't
Except
wanna-
that the
I don't wanna
milkweed gets
break
in the way.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's made and used by children, so it's
Oh, the kids put this together for you?
yes, we put this together.
Wonderful.
We let them design it, and we talked about how it was an engineering experiment, actually. Something that we were going to try this year because
see.
garlic at the end, and we have this bed. We've been doing a lot of companion planting this year as well. So we try to plant a number of things in the same bed that will
That
help
grow
each
well
other grow
together,
or
yes.
grow well together. So in this bed, we have milkweed.
Yes.
We have tomato plants.
Oh, there
They're
it is.
still
See,
quite
look at that.
small,
Yeah,
but
I see what
in each
year.
of the rings there's
It's
tomato
been a tough
plants.
year for tomato plants. Too much rain, too much cold.
Well, that's
But we're
the other.
getting there.
That's the other benefit of companion planting.
Yeah.
If I have 3 different crops in this bed, if one of them isn't doing well, I'll still be growing something else I can eat.
Still producing.
Still
That's right.
producing. So we also have Chinese broccoli.
I was going to say, is it something, a brassica of
Yep,
some kind?
this
here?
is Chinese broccoli.
Okay.
It's delicious.
Is bok choy? Is that?
It's not bok choy. It's
Something like-
jelan is what we call it at home, and it's almost like a long stem broccoli. So you get a long stem, you get a little bit of floret at the top, but it's the leaves that are really delicious. The stem and the leaves.
Okay.
So it's great steamed.
Cooked or raw? Steamed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Steamed, or you can mix it into stir fries, or you can boil it and just eat it plain.
Put it in soups and stuff.
You
too.
can put it in soups.
This I can see you're budding up on the milkweeds. They are
Yes.
so beautiful and they smell so good.
Yes.
It's lovely to see them here. You got a little basil.
And we did. I'm glad it came back. We planted basil in here as well, and it wasn't looking great, but
It's
it looks like
struggling.
it's coming back now.
All right, peas here.
Peas and
Peas
turnips.
milkweed and turnips.
And turnips. You can see
Oh,
one
I see
here.
them. Yes,
there's
yes.
one in here.
I do see
Hedged
the
it.
turnips. Yeah, inside.
These are white salad turnips. They're called white lady turnips, or I think hakuri turnips, if I'm pronouncing that right. You can eat them raw. You can eat the leaves and the bottoms. And my favorite is to saute them in a little butter. I mean, you can't go wrong
The
if you
turnips or
saute
the
things in
leaves or
butter.
both?
Both. I just cut them in half. I put the leaves and the turnips and saute them up and eat them as a side, and
They're delicious.
they are delicious.
That's right.
Okay, and you've got peas going here, and I saw one little baby pea, so people can see how
Oh,
those
is
develop.
there?
Look here, honey.
Oh, look at that.
See the flower, when the
So
flower
they're
goes
coming.
by, the pea develops. Are these snow peas or sugar snap? These are snow peas. Okay.
But they're farther along than ours.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
ours are about to do that.
Yeah, ours are
Two
in
beds
flower.
of
Yeah.
peas.
We actually have a lot of peas this year. It's a
We
great
have more tomatoes
crop.
here.
Yep.
Peas.
Great crop for the kids to plant because the seeds are large. The harvest
Yes,
is
yes.
usually early, so they can
Yes.
usually get some before the end of school.
Yes.
And it's plentiful, so there's a lot for kids to pick, which is fun. And some
Oh,
kids
so nice.
have never had like a fresh pea from the garden.
Right off the plant.
It's
yes.
like candy for them. I mean, delicious.
It's a revelation.
Yes.
Oh, look at this.
Here's another covered bed. Last year we covered all our kale to keep the
Rabbits.
The
the
the bugs.
moths. Yeah, we
Oh.
had
cabbage moth.
cabbage moths.
Yeah.
So most of our kale is
This
covered
is
this
so
year.
Okay, look here. Just
So
goes
here
like that.
we have kale. We harvested that yesterday.
Okay, and you've got a radish or something here?
These are radishes. We did radishes and carrots in between the kale.
And fennel or dill?
Fennel. Good job. Down the middle we have fennel also in between. The fennel flowers attract
Pollinators.
pollinators and beneficial insects. So they attract predatory wasps, tiny little predatory wasps
that eat the
eat
cabbage moth?
aphids and the
Okay.
caterpillars and all kinds of things. And then down the middle, this was an experiment this year as well. We planted sunflowers, which will act
Ooh,
as
are
a
they going to be the tall
scaffold.
ones?
Yes.
Eventually?
And they will
Okay,
act, well, so we'll
you'll
have to take this off.
lose the covering.
We will, but I think that will be fine. We'll just keep
At
an
some
eye.
point, yeah.
You know, and we don't use any sprays or pesticides. So if we see a caterpillar, it just gets to live off in the grass.
It
And
finds
that's
it
right.
finds a new home.
It finds a new home.
I like that.
And
Okay.
with the sunflowers, we planted cucamelons.
Cucumber.
Something
That's a
brand
new
new
one.
I didn't
A
know.
melon and cucumber cross, I'm
They
assuming?
look like a watermelon,
Uh-huh.
but they taste like a cucumber. They're about grape sized.
Oh my gosh.
And they grow up as a vine, so they will use the sunflowers as a scaffold to grow up,
Sure, of course.
and we'll see how they do.
All right, can you show me any of those? Is that...
They haven't, I don't think they've come up yet. I think
come up yet. Okay.
here's one.
Okay, a beginning.
So they're
Just a
really
baby.
starting.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and you have one right there. Okay, so,
so
they're making their way up.
They will eventually. And so
that's-
again, with the companion planting, we'll be able to harvest the radishes first. The kale first, and then radishes. Thank you. And the kale will harvest all summer, through the whole summer.
Yeah,
and into the
kale
fall.
goes right into October, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, and then beans.
We have beans, bush beans,
Mm-hmm.
and again, we did just carrots and radishes in between to fill in the space.
Okay.
So we'll take the radishes out and leave the space for the
I
carrots.
see just the beginning of carrots.
Little
there.
carrots
Teeny,
starting,
tiny little
tiny.
ferns.
I've never had good luck with carrots. But
we have our luck changes from year to year, but you do have to dig like 12 inches down and sift the soil and everything. So
we shall see.
It's
I've
a lot of
heard
work.
that radishes can help break up the soil a little bit
Good,
for the carrots. So that was another companion. that
another
we thought
companion planting.
would help.
These look
out.
like new beds. Are they last year's? They were redone the beds, or this year?
2 years ago, actually,
Okay.
A community member who had a bunch of wood. They had cleared a lot for their house, and they had had the trees milled, and we were looking for new wood to rebuild the beds because the old beds were kind of
They were falling apart.
at the end. They don't last forever. And she generously donated the wood for all of these beds from her stock.
wonderful.
It was really kind of her. So we do have a lot of people who, like I said, you don't have to come out and weed the garden to help the garden.
No, there are
There's
things
so
you can
many ways
do.
to help.
And if anyone who is a gardener is going to be interested and want to help. Okay.
This is
this a lettuce?
lettuce. These
at
are
that.
called
These are
Tom
a
Thumb
butterhead
lettuce.
or-
Yep, they're a head lettuce, but they grow heads like this size. They're very
Yes,
small.
yeah, like little softball size.
Yep, exactly. And
Yes.
we have some endive
I see.
here. And the marigolds were planted to help
In
deter.
theory, they deter.
Okay, so we have, this is cucumber,
Okay,
and then the squash is up here.
Okay,
so
this is
these are-
cucumber, and these are
These are summer squash, a yellow zucchini.
okay, and nasturtiums.
And nasturtiums, yes.
Because
Because nasturtiums are not only edible flowers,
right.
but they deter squash beetles.
Oh,
So
good to know.
that they're mixed in hopes that we keep
The squash beetles
the
to a
squash
minimum.
beetles away from.
So no borers, huh?
Well,
I
that's
see things
that's the
coming
hope.
up everywhere. It's lovely.
Yes, those are more cucumbers. There were some starts planted and they didn't make it. I think when we had the cold snap, maybe they. So some new cucumbers were planted, and you can just see them coming up.
They're coming up though.
So whose idea was it to use rulers?
Actually, we use what we have, but they are multi-purpose because when we were planting the seeds, we used them to help the children.
How far
How
apart?
far apart do you put the seeds?
Right.
And how far from the edge of the bed? And so they used us rulers, and then we used them as the markers to keep track of where we planted things.
I
So,
love that. That's wonderful.
and these
Where
are
are
our raised beds. These are elevated beds, and
Another bean.
these are beans. And we have a chair here for people who may have mobility issues.
Can come and sit.
Can come and sit and weed and work
And
at
weed
the
if
elevated
they choose.
beds. The chair may also be able to be used at these beds depending on how much someone
Depending
can lean
on what
over.
you can- yeah,
but
what
that
is your
stays
tolerance
here.
for?
That stays outside for anyone to use who wants to use it in the garden.
This is your compost?
No,
Rain
it's a
barrel.
Rain
That's a
barrel.
rain barrel.
Yep, this is a rain barrel, so it collects water
And filters it.
and it filters it in the top. And then
And
we
there's
have
the spigot.
a spigot at the bottom.
All right.
So
I love that.
it is not a trash can. We made sure it was clear that it's not a trash can. There are no trash cans in the garden, so anyone who
No, if you weed, now if you come and weed,
Yes.
I'm assuming you can you use those weeds as compost? Do you put them somewhere? Or
We
do you
used to have-
dispose of them somehow?
right now we put them on the side of the shed.
I see
So
you've
we
got a
have
sort of
shed.
a pile next to the
Yes.
shed.
We have a shed where we keep our tools, we keep the key to the water. The water is not on all the time.
I see.
So if people are volunteering to water, they need to come and
they need to arrange that
contact
in
us and
advance.
arrange, right.
Okay.
Not difficult, it's just we don't want any water being wasted
Right.
by
exactly.
accident. So the weeds go on the right-hand side of the shed. We don't
Well, it's just
currently
good to
have a
know.
compost.
If someone wants to come and do that,
Yes.
then that's where they just need to know where to take them. Otherwise, you end up with weeds and seeds everywhere.
Yes. Well, we have an information sheet, and the QR code will be posted in the sign, in the information sign. So
Okay.
if they want to, want to know what being a volunteer entails, you can scan the QR code. It'll pull up the sheet. It talks about what to do if you're watering, what to do if you're weeding. There's links to videos that have instructional videos. that we
How-to
put
sort
together.
of, yes,
Exactly.
yes.
How do I turn the water on? Where do I put the weeds? And for people who don't have a smartphone or, aren't
just don't wanna
comfortable
deal with that.
or don't want to deal with that, I understand. We'll have a hard copy in our little library. So let me take.
Is this bed straw, Holly?
I'm not sure what this is. This was all planted before I was involved in the garden.
Bed straw.
And so there's some beautiful, and this plant is about to flower. I don't know what that one is either.
She's using her iPhone to do the ident thing.
That's a wonderful resource.
Isn't that a great tool?
Oh,
bed straw.
well done.
Which, when you read old stories and they talk about stuffing the
Oh.
mattresses with straw, and because this is soft, I guess this is what
Yes.
they use.
No kidding.
I think
That
of
is really
nasty,
cool.
pokey, itchy straw.
That's what
but
I
to
always
me-
thought. Oh, those poor little library.
Yes.
Oh, and we got new signs.
Hmm.
I just want to point out because the high school art students painted our signs.
Oh, nice.
They did a wonderful job. We were so pleased that they were able to do that for us.
So you're getting a whole, intergenerational, interscholastic, whatever.
It's true.
Yeah.
Really, we try to get everyone involved and you know, it's fun. We used to have a mentor program where the high school students would come and work with the younger students.
Okay.
That would be wonderful to start up again, but there's only so much time in the day. So
Yeah.
There's no end to
it's right.
the things you can do in a library.
So under our new sign, we have a little free library. And for people who don't know, the way a little free library works is there are books in the library and they are free to take. And you can take them home and you can keep them forever. If you have a book that you are done reading and you want to share it with someone else, you can put it in the library and leave it for someone else to take. You don't have to return the books.
Are you limiting it to garden-based books?
No, people put in whatever they want to read or whatever they finished reading, or and some people have put in some DVDs. I think
I
they
see,
probably
yes,
try to
yeah.
stick more to books.
Yeah, that's to encourage
to
reading.
encourage the reading. And we have a bench. People could take a book and sit down and do some reading in the
Really
garden.
nice. It's lovely.
I'm not sure. So like I said, this is Deb's baby. So she manages all of this. I believe she takes both suggestions and donations in this box.
Okay.
Because she is buying all the plants for this.
Yeah, she's made this quite a
she
project for
has-
several years.
And it's just a beautiful place to
It
come
is.
and walk
It's
through.
it's what a garden should be.
It's lovely. And she just put in a new double bench in the middle that
Okay.
we'll walk through.
Okay.
And it's just, I can imagine spending some lovely hours up here with a book.
Get pictures of the little bugs. Coral bells in bloom.
And this garden has expanded
This is
a
nice.
lot. And
Yes,
just
it has.
recently even, she has added a sensory garden to the very end, which we'll see when we get there.
Nice.
Which has some really fun things, especially for children to see and interact with and play with.
Look at this. Isn't that pretty?
And I can't tell you the names. She has things very well labeled.
Well,
so if you're
this is-
interested, you just need to find the label at the
These
bottom.
are bee balm. This is Rose of Sharon. They're all nice hardy perennials. And there was some flowering quince back there. And
I want to say thank you for spending all this time with us. This has
Yeah,
really
taking
been.
up
I
her-
appreciate you stopping by. We
And-
generally will have a volunteer day
Yeah.
where we get people to come up and we have a list of things to do. And I thought what would be fun this year is just to have an open house.
Yeah.
So this is new. This
Dutchman's pipe.
pipe vine is new, and it attracts. I forget what the butterfly is
A
that it
particular-
attracts. But I think it's the pipe vine butterfly actually. But
it says Dutchman's pipe or pipe vine.
yeah. And so that will grow up, I believe,
Up and
on-
over?
on the
Nice.
scaffolding here.
Yeah. Oh, you smell the wood chips. All right.
And even the wood chips were donated. We
Huh.
had tall tree.
Yeah. Oh, this is a sensory
This
garden.
is a sensory garden, and it has things to touch, things to smell, things to hear. There's some wind chimes.
Okay.
Um,
A little fairy village.
a little fairy village. Yeah, she's put a lot of thought into what she wanted
Yeah.
in the sensory garden. I don't think we encourage people to taste in the sensory garden because you shouldn't eat anything that you're 100%, unless you're 100% sure you know it's
You
edible.
know what it is.
That's right.
That's right. Oh,
Push out one of
and we got and she made a little extension out to the sidewalk, so
And shaded, yeah, so people can access
so
it.
another entrance. Yeah.
And she's added a really fun rock snake.
Oh, okay.
This year.
Okay. All right.
So
Nice.
inviting people to paint a rock and add it to the snake, and we'll see how long it grows.
All right. Well, I'm going to say thank you for this.
Sorry we've taken up so much of your time.
Oh, I
I'm
really
so
appreciate you
grateful.
coming in
This is wonderful.
and sharing it with everyone.